wait. Sorry, you gotta wait.
Stop! Oh, look at Sue's bottom, everyone. Can you see Sue's bottom? Hey, that's the first for everyone, isn't it? You've seen Sue's bottom. There you go. Anyway, sorry, you caught us on the hook. On the hook. On the what? Don't know what you caught us on. We can. Haha. Oh my God. So you can hear me, you can see me, can you? Look at my red face. We've been out in the sun all day. Well, not all day, but we've had a good run. So you all come in early, or am I late? No, it's only 1 minute past, isn't it? Simon says good evening to you. Karen Evans, good evening to you. Chris Duval, good evening. Oh yeah, there's a right conversation going on here. Jamie Lee, Aidan Bromley, Karen Murray, Matt Crew. How are you doing, Matt? What do you think about the brother, Matt, of yours then? Do you like him? Alan Chadwick, missed it. Karen Evans, we have. Aha. Ben Esteem, Peter Piper, good evening. Adrian Bromley, Lars, I'm not even going to pronounce it, but good evening. Alan Herod, good evening to you. So we've got a lot to talk about. I had a conversation, well, a message from, let me just have a quick look and see if I can find it. I've been that busy racing around. I didn't do my prep work this evening, so I'm sorry about that. And I think it was to do with, this is the one, I think. Luke Dixon. And Luke Dixon's from where, Sue? Was it Australia? Down under.
Oh, buying a pup then?
No, not buying a pup.
Cocker.
No, nothing to do with buying a cocker.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Down in Australia. Luke Dixon. Let me read it out to you before we start. Hi, Chris. Hi, Chris. I have to ask. I have 1 million gun dog training DVDs and spent years watching them. So have I. Hundreds and hundreds. Every one of them starts with obedience and builds from there. Then along come your videos and you turn the whole thing on its head. Your way makes perfect sense, using the dog's own drive to train the behaviors, leading to natural enthusiasm and skills. How long have you been training? How long have you trained that way? Do you train all breeds that way, GSPs, pointers, labs, to build up drive and desire for the game, and then utilizes that and timed discipline to create the want to be obedient? And like I said, he says, sorry for the long question, but it's been playing on my mind. And I thought it was an absolute brilliant question. It was a question because it was exactly what I was talking about on Facebook. And I don't know if any of you are on Facebook. So I'll read it out quickly to you. And then I'd like to discuss this before we go into anybody's questions for a minute. Brilliant question, Luke. That's the question people should be asking. It comes down to visual observation, the environment I came from, and how my dyslexic mind thinks outside the box. That's how Keith Erlandson would have answered it. Obviously, he's not dyslexic, but he wouldn't give you an instant answer. He would make you think. Remember, as a kid, if you had a dog, what was the moments you loved with that dog? The companionship, the game of fetch. Look at the dog on the beach chasing the ball, and look at a dog in a park chasing a stick. That is natural fun-based training. The dog is doing it because he wants to do it, not because he's been forced. I have not invented anything. I have used observation, learning, knowledge to develop my ways of training. I have made mistakes and have learned by those mistakes. I have mastered an art. The true skill of dog training is to keep it simple. The thinking capacity of the dog is not like the human. Think like the dog would think. Sorry. Now answer the question. Over 20 years ago, I went in this. Now I'll answer your question. Over 20 years ago, I went in this direction. All that has changed over the years is I've constantly kept trying to refine it. I'm talking about my training, right? Lots of good trainers have evolved over the years. The big difference, some trainers talk about it and other trainers get out there and do it. The good ones can do both. Now ask the question, when you were a kid and you were playing games with your dog, were you a dog trainer? Did you really have any understanding? And yet the dog wanted to be with you. The rest of the questions, or anybody who wants to ask questions, will be answered tonight at 8 o'clock in the live feed. This is what dog training is about. It's about debate. It's about talking. It's about communicating with each other. I've made a massive fuck up, everybody. And I'm going to confess tonight. I'm going to confess. I'm going to say to you before we go into this, I've had a number of arguments on a number of live chats and a number of discussions, and I believe in debate, and I believe in, there's nothing wrong with arguing. There's nothing wrong with having a difference of opinion. But I was discussing a number of things with Chris Fraze, and to me, he's high value in his knowledge and understanding of what he knows about his specific area. And I'm not being rude and putting him in a box. I'm saying that I'm so impressed with his knowledge and understanding that I've been following him and listening. And he's not the most popular person in the world like me, and we're not going to be. It's as simple as that, because we speak our mind. And the problem is, I had a ding dong with Chris a few months ago or 6 months ago, but we still remained civil with each other and friendly with each other. And it was over the fact that I didn't like perhaps the way he was running his live feed. But technically, that's none of my concern, is it? That's not my right to. It's my right to not perhaps like some of the stuff he was doing, and it's my right to say I didn't like it. But it wasn't my site, so he's got to run it the way he sees fit. But he did ask for opinion. He asked for advice, asked for feedback, and I gave him feedback. And we disagreed and we agreed on a lot of things, but we remained civil. We've not been rude with each other. We've not called each other silly names like children. We've not got into big silly fights. We've had our differences, like I say, but he's very high value in an area of the dog training, if that's your area that you want to go into. So if you're into bite protection work, aggressive dogs, he's the man to go to. He's the man to go to that I've studied and watched so many people. That doesn't mean he can't train pets. That doesn't mean he can't train people with pets. But what I'm saying is, let's take Stony Dennis, for instance. If I was a pet trainer, I'd rather be like Stony Dennis and sell yourself the way Stony does. And he gets his point across. He's a good trainer. And I like his way he executes himself, right? Better than me to the public. I'm not a public person, but I don't want people to hate me, but I don't want people to like me because I'm pretending to be somebody I'm not. And so me and Chris had a difference of agreement on this ground, that I said I want to be friendly with everybody in the dog training world and make friends with everybody. And he said, no, you can't. It'll never happen. And I was going out of my way to try and debate and bring other dog trainers from different areas and different thoughts and different opinions together and saying, look, we can have a difference of agreement. We can have a difference of opinion, but let's remain civil, shall we? And then it kicked off 3 days ago. I'm not bothered. I'm laughing. I'm laughing because I've been down that road for years, dealing with what we call the snowflakes and the fur baby lovers. And guess what? I'm being suppressed of my freedom of speech because they're saying, you can't say that because you're upsetting them. Well, don't come into my world rubbishing me when you have no idea of what I do and how I train and how much have I studied and how much have I mastered the art of training a gun dog, and not just being a clone of one person or a number of people and using them as a stepping stone and then shitting on them. You don't do that in the business, else you don't get yourself a good name. It's as simple as that, everybody. And I trusted someone, and I was having conversations in private, and what I say in private should stay in private. But if you shit on me, I will go public if I have to prove that you're calling me a liar. And that's what I may have to do if it carries on. Don't want it to carry on. I just want the idiot to go away. And the idiot's unfriended me now. Fine, no problem at all. But he said he tried to educate me. No, I listened. He tried to mind fuck me by saying I was cruel with my method of training and he had a method of training that was fantastic, and it works brilliant, and he's mastered it and he's learned from it. And I was trying to draw out of him words of wisdom, words of something I could learn from him and master from him. So I wasn't being nice to him because I was being false. I was being nice to him because I wanted to have debate with him. Open, not open debate where we're bitching, but in private. So we had many an hour talking, phone conversations. And it's, even at my age and my knowledge, I'm still hungry for knowledge. But the more I listened to him, the more I thought to myself, you know something, but you don't know everything. And you're blinkered because you believe everything you believe is 100% right. And everything else in life is evil. And anybody else who doesn't believe with you is evil. So I've studied. I haven't gone to university. I haven't gone to college, but I've studied human psychology by watching as much as I can on the internet from some weird and some wonderful people, from Freud, who was a complete nutter, you know, and it's the same with the dog science trainers. It's the same as Skinner. You know, you study it, it doesn't mean you have to believe it. If you believe everything you read, you'll just never ever get there as a trainer, because you'll be totally confused. And this is so important, everybody, that's why I've gone in this direction this evening with this. Anybody wants to answer questions, keep banging them up and we're going to go through them in a minute. But this is so important. This isn't a bitch fight on the internet with me and this person. I'm not even mentioning them, because some of you will know who I'm talking about on my Patreon site, because I've said a few things on my Patreon site, because it's a private group and I don't want to become and I've not said nothing nasty. I've just showed the person for what they are, for the stuff they come out with. It all blew up because on Chris Fraser's live feed, this guy came on and started reasonably well in the conversation with Chris Fraser. And I thought to myself, great, this is going to be interesting, because I know your opinions are different, because I've spoke to Chris, I've studied Chris, and I've studied Robert in what he lets me know. But you wouldn't believe some of the things he said that shocked me. But I'm not going to talk all about them, because I don't need to, unless this kicks off into an internet fight again with the fluffies and the snowflakes. And that's what he's doing. He's going down that road on his page to discredit me and lie about me in so many ways, like so many people have. And I don't care. I don't care, because I speak to people in private, and he doesn't know what I say to them in private. And he doesn't know what I say to them in public on live feeds, because he's not been watching them all. But the people that matter to me, that I am not seen to be backstabbing people in private, talking about them behind their back, that I wouldn't say to their face. Now, you have every right not to like me. You have every right to ask me any question you like about dog training and question my way of training. There's nothing wrong with that. You put your head above the parapet and be prepared to be shot at. You have to be. That's dog training, and that is a professional. A professional has to answer the questions, and if someone starts asking those questions and you can't answer them, you're going to look rather silly. It's as simple as that. But the one thing I will not do is to get into a bitch fight where someone's being very, very rude and people are using such language that I just think it just shows your intelligence. You're thick. You haven't got a clue. You're just clones of this bloke, because this bloke has been a TV personality living off the back of that era of TV, right? And I don't want to mention his name, but I know he's going to watch this. I know he's going to get triggered even more. Eh? I've not mentioned his name, have I? Mm-hmm. Have I? Mm-hmm. Oh, did I mention his name? I didn't mean to mention his name, but hey, never mind. What was his name? I'm not mentioning his second name because I can't even pronounce it. Why? Because I'm dyslexic. Anyway, so what I'm saying to you is, if you start seeing shit about me, go and watch it. Do what you like. I don't care, because I stand by everything I say in private, and anybody can put up words and muddle them around or screenshot them and try and just show part of a conversation, because what you're doing, you're cherry picking. You're not showing the full conversation. But I'm not going to play those silly games, because I'm a professional dog trainer. And I will go after people publicly if they carry on. So if he carries on, that's what he's going to get. That's not a threat. That's not being nasty. And I've made a video about him, and I've got another 3 videos all stored up, ready if he wants to kick off. Because guess what? I studied the art of war, and I know when to attack. And what he's trying to do, he's trying to provoke me to come out and have a great big bitch fight with him on the internet. That gives him power in his eyes. But guess what? He's meaningless to me. If he was a gun dog trainer with some knowledge and some understanding, I might be a bit upset that I've upset someone that I looked up to. I was very polite to him and I never questioned his training. Now ask the question, why did you never question his training? Because there isn't a video out there with him training a dog, everyone. Because in fact, he doesn't even own a dog. Because he wanders around from church hall to church hall and from fete to a fete and charges, I don't know, 500 quid. I don't know exactly, but 500. We have talked about it for a day's turnout. 500 quid for a day's turnout to hand out some certificates and shake people's hands and take photographs. Great, lovely, really pleased for you. But are you really an expert in your field? You can study as much as you want, but you've got to get down there and practically do it rather than just talk about it. There comes a point where if you're not doing it and you can't show it, people start questioning things. But I tell you what, he came onto Chris Fraser's site and he said the wrong thing because he started talking and telling stories, and some of them stories were unbelievable. And my Patreon people know what we're talking about a little bit, and that's all I want to say at this point. So what I'm saying is, he thinks I'm going to come on here and absolutely bitch him. I'm not. I was friends with him for, I don't know, 2 years, I think, on the internet, and he accused me of saying I am cruel. I was cruel to a dog, but he's only ever watched one video. He's never watched anything else. And he does never, ever rubbish another trainer if he doesn't know their work, unless he knows all their work, and then he'll rubbish them publicly. But he's never seen my work, so he'd never publicly rubbish me. But because I didn't agree with what he was saying on Chris Fraser's live feed, and I agreed with Chris Fraser, and I asked the question, and this is an important thing for you to understand. If I was seen taking a baseball bat to a dog and smashing a dog with a baseball bat, I would be and should be prosecuted. If I was defending a child from being killed or a human from being killed and in a split second managed to get hold of something and crack the dog, if that's what I thought was going to do, a dog that was locked onto someone, but I wouldn't do that because I know the effect it would have. And I'm not a bite specialist, and I'm not an aggression specialist. I'm a gun dog trainer. Have I worked with aggressive dogs? Have I worked with dogs that bite? Yes, I have. But it's not a speciality of mine. And I would say Chris Fraser, it is a speciality of his. And the way I know this is because a person with wisdom can watch and read a person when they start critiquing stuff and looking at videos and showing you dogs, and they're showing you how they're reading the dogs. And I can then read that as clear as they can, but it's brilliant because he's breaking it down for people to understand. So the whole point of me coming on here and saying this is Luke Dixon asked a brilliant question. We go back to that now because this is a dog training site. This is, I told you, I want to move away from the fluffies and the snowflakes, and let's just move on from them and not worry about them. But when they go out of their way to attack you, I think to myself, you're unbelievable. You turn as quick as anything on the grounds that someone did not agree with your thinking. I think if you're an animal welfare officer and you go onto a balcony with a pit bull and you tell a story on someone else's live feed that you went on there with a catch pole, you couldn't catch the dog, it was coming at you, so you hit it with a baseball bat, and then you thought, which part of my body do I want the dog to catch? And then you can catch the dog and throw it over a seven-story high balcony. I don't know if it was a council estate in London or something like that, but I wasn't there. But I was listening to this live feed and I just thought, what? Now, have I dealt with pit bulls that will kill you? No, I haven't. I've got to be honest. I've had dealt with dogs that can do you serious harm, that have got anger management problems. Yes, I have. But I've listened to Chris Fraser, and I don't know nowhere near as much about bite work and aggressive dogs as Chris Fraser. But there's nowhere on this earth would I provoke a pit bull, keep smashing it with a baseball bat, because it's going to come at you harder and harder and harder, and you're only going to piss it off, right? Trust me. And I would not want to take a bite from a pit bull to then think I can then undo that bite and throw a dog off a 7th-floor balcony. Now, if that's the case, everyone, all I'm saying is I questioned it, and he found that offensive. I didn't put the words in his mouth. I asked the questions. I didn't know that at the time he couldn't see the questions, and I asked a number of questions thinking, why aren't you answering me? Why aren't you answering me? But then it turns out later in the video, he couldn't see the screen of questions like you guys are putting up here. So that's all I'm saying. From that, it's turned into a witch hunt for Chris Upton again from the Snowflake Society. And, you know, I hate women and I'm cruel and all this crap, right?
We've been there before, sweetie, unfortunately.
And we're moving on. So,
and like somebody like the dog photo, let's get talking dog training. And one thing I will say, Boris says, stay alert for the virus. We lot have to stay alert for the idiots. Please don't let them out their box.
So there you go. So Chris Upton is moving on. He's not getting into a bitch fight. So we're going to go back to up the top there. We're going to start all over again. And that's the end of that. Unless anybody asks questions, and I will answer the questions. It's as simple as that. So good evening, good evening, good evening. I have a question, Karen Evans. If you made the ch noise to get a dog to hunt, that noise, to get your dog to hunt or encourage him to test in a test, would you be put out for that? Yes, you don't want to be doing that. You don't want to be clicking your fingers. I see so many people bending over and going, judges won't like that. And yes, you don't do that if you're in competition, because you use your whistle and you say very, very little. But to get a dog to cast it off, you know, where some people go, get out or get on, and the dog just goes, it can make a noise. And so over the years, when I want a dog to hunt, it means go hunting, I just make a, and it's no different than on the whistle. So yes, I don't need a whistle, because I can whistle through my teeth or my tongue, whatever it is. But guess what?
Now you're showing off.
Now I'm showing off, Sue said. Or I can do it with one finger. I bet most of you can do it with one finger, can't you?
I've never been able
So that's why it's a good question, Karen. And yes, and what you'll get, yeah, but that wouldn't be acceptable. You don't know what he's doing. Bollocks. I'm training dogs. So what happens when I go, it means put your head down. We're going hunting, right? Rather than running around with your head up. And so you then cut it out. The one thing it can do, if you're not careful, it can become a problem because you can't stop doing it. And I think some of us do get into that if we're not careful. But I train my dogs these days as shooting dogs, don't forget. I'm not going into competition. If I was going in competition, I wouldn't be doing it. Simple as that. Not a problem. But to get a little dog just saying, right, okay, we're in hunting mode now. And the dog goes, oh yeah, come on, go hunting. So that's what you see. So good question. Jamie Lee, hi Chris. Hope you're well. Jack, Jamie Lee, Crazy One, and Dilly D. Yeah, hello. All right, how you doing? So I'm going to flick down. I'm flicking down. Bear with me. Good evening, Chris and Sue, and fellow enthusiasts. Julian Lees. Good evening, Julian. Thanks so much for the squirrel skins. That's really nice of you. You're a top man. I've got to say, everyone, I'm getting so many requests for squirrel skins. We just can't do it. I mean, you can't ask this man to be just like giving his life away. He does it on the odd occasion for me, and he's done it a lot for me over the years. And we really appreciate him. He's an absolute superstar. But I just can't just give them out willy-nilly. But thank you so much indeed, Julian. That's really much appreciated.
Yeah, but they appreciate them when they win them.
Yeah, and that's it. So, you know, when people do win them in a bit of competition, it's only a squirrel skin, but it's taken Julian, you know, a good hour at least to do that squirrel skin. I'm pretty sure. I'd love to bring Julian on one day and say, you know, give us or do a video for us and explain everything about it because other people could try it. I think Kieran was trying it the other day with a rabbit, and I don't know if Julian told him what to do, but I've done it myself over the years. They've never lasted as long. Julian knows what he's doing. Absolutely lovely. D Stokes, good evening to you. Andy, well, Chris, what was that? All right. So his name is there then. Not a problem. Well, Chris, what was that guy, okay, on about? It sounds a bit ridiculous. Andy, at the end of the day, everyone's entitled to their opinion. Everyone's entitled to say what they want to say. I believe that if you've got a live feed and you say to people you can ask questions, you should be able to not try and monitor it and say you can't ask those questions. You shouldn't be asking those questions because you're testing my knowledge. You know, I could have said the same for Kieran. I could have said, well, Kieran might have been talking to a trial person, and the trial person said you can't be going. He's right. That trial person's right. But I gave the right answer. I gave exactly what the answer was. Not trying to make an excuse for what I do. I'm showing you what I do and how I get my dogs to what I do. But I don't go silly and go, good boy, when he comes in with a freaking retrieve on a trial or a test. But guess what? I've just handed in a load of standing orders because I'm not interested in those clubs anymore. I've handed them in, but I kept them running for an extra 10 years after packing up trialing, thinking one day I might go there. I'm not interested in trialing anymore. Why? Well, there was an article up on my Facebook that Andrew, some good trialer as well, good guy. He made a comment, and it was dead to the point about trialing and how it's changed and how it's being manipulated, and that's what we're talking about. But there's not many people who will stand up and say it the way it is. It upsets people when you talk your mind and you talk the truth. It upsets people. You've got to understand that. But that's what I like about Chris Fraze. You know, we can disagree, but we can also agree. And there isn't that. I mean, I only know one person outside the Gundog world, and not many in the Gundog world, who said, other than people on here, don't get me wrong, not our friends and people who are with us, who follow me, who have said, that bloke took a bullet for us. He stood up against the system, who was trying to say that we can't give discipline, and said, you're not getting it. You're not getting it. I'm allowed to talk about it. You can't suppress me. And if you want to get funny with me, I'll get funny with you. I have a right to be funny with someone if I want to, or assertive with them. I haven't a right to break the law. So as long as I act within the law of this land, and I had a 7-year battle, as you all know, and I won every battle, every court case, because of the lies and the slander, I won it. And then I won the RSPCA the one time they came round and wanted to prosecute because of a lot of people complaining about a video because what was edited. At the end of the day, Chris Fraze said that guy took a bullet for the dog training world. He stood up and said, we do use discipline. We don't use this. There's a difference between discipline and cruelty. There's a difference of protecting yourself or protecting another person because of a dog attack. And I never said that Robert, and that's what Andy's on about, I never said that Robert should have been prosecuted for taking an instrument to a dog if he felt that someone's life was in danger. But the story he told, he then changed in the live feed. But I couldn't believe that story was coming from an animal welfare officer. And he was talking about when he was 26, and Robert, I think, is 55 or something like that now. And now Robert thinks he's the god of dog training because he's gone away and studied it. Great. Knock yourself out. I've seen Victoria Stilwell. She thinks she's the god of the dog training world. What I'm saying is nice and simple. I asked the question, now you've got the wisdom, what would you do now, Robert? Would you use your treat bag, your fanny bag and treats? Because I know that wouldn't work. That was a bit of a joke to Robert because Robert was a friend. I wouldn't have said that to someone I didn't know, but Robert was a friend on my Facebook and we spoke in private for many an hour, and he's got a dry sense of humor, and it was just me, not rubbishing him, but saying, for Christ's sake, come out with what you do now compared to what you did when you didn't know what you were doing. And as soon as I said that to him in private, he freaking went mental because he said, I knew what I was doing then and I know what I'm doing now. Well, hang on, you didn't know what you were doing then because freaking with the crap you talked about. It's simple as that, everyone. I'm not going to go into loads and loads of personal stuff. But guess what? That's what Andy's on about because he's seen the video. They've seen the video. And at the end of the day, if that was plastered all over the internet, dog warden or dog protection officer, whatever you want to call it, what is he called again? Welfare officer, no? Animal welfare. Animal welfare. Animal welfare?
Wouldn't be the name that I would say.
No, I wouldn't say it's the animal welfare. I mean, but then to talk about it as if like it was, oh, I was a macho man, you know? Fucking get real. But guess what? I don't live in this fluffy world that you can't discipline a dog if it's going to freaking kill a kid. I would have no hesitation. But you need to perhaps explain it a little bit better because other people made comments, not just me. And just because they didn't like what you were saying, he took umbrage and accused me of not being his friend and stabbing him in the back. That's not stabbing someone in the back. Get real. That's not stabbing. So anyway, that's that one answered. Good evening, Charlie Tango 1. Are you back at work, Charlie, doing any leather work, my dear? I keep passing people's names to you, but it's not come through quite so much lately. Simon's even though hi Chris and Sue. Right, okay, David Moore. Hello, good evening. Michael McLaughlin. You can't debate with, you're gonna have to say that, Sue, because I'm dyslexic, but I know what he means. Intellect, go on.
Well, he's got, you can't debate the psycho intellect.
It's not psycho.
Side or whatever. I would just put down idiots.
No, but I tell you what, Michael wrote some fantastic stuff. And do you know what, everyone? I've not pretended, have I? I know what that word. I know what that word means, but because I'm dyslexic, I can't even pronounce it. But I do know what he's saying. Now, some people are science-based, as in intellectuals. They're really good, and I've listened and listened to what Michael has said on Patreon and some of the stuff. I agree 100% with him. I can understand, I can read it, but I can't. I know the word as well, but it's not coming to the top of my head. But he's right, exactly what he says, and I guarantee I know he's right because I know what that word is. And afterwards, I will go back and look it up on the internet. And I wish Sue would look it up for us now. She's doing it now because at the end of the day, some of us on here are not academically minded, but guess what? I've taught myself to write. I've taught myself to read, not school. I've taught myself to do my own videos. I've taught myself to edit. I've taught myself to train dogs with taking a little bit from here and a little bit from there. And do you know what? I'm not. It bothers me that I'm not academically better than I am.
Yeah, I knew I was right. There you go.
What?
Whatever it says. Idiot. Actually.
Yeah. I know. No, but it's not psycho. It's not psycho.
It's not. I said I think I was right. It was an idiot.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
It says.
Go on.
Actually.
Yeah.
Not actually, but having the appearance of pretended, false.
Yeah.
Or sham.
Yeah.
Like I said, freaking idiots.
Yeah, exactly. So, Michael, thank you for that, and I agree 100% because two intellectual people could stand there and have a debate, and it could be fantastic. But one could have knowledge, understanding, and wisdom, and the other one has studied. It doesn't mean he knows more than that person. But vice versa, if that person is stood still because they don't go out there and learn and educate themselves, then they may be a dinosaur thinking the old way. But that's exactly what they do, these people, these so-called positive trainers. And this Robert isn't just a positive trainer, but he leans, like I would say, 95% towards positive. Hang on, what have I been saying? 95% positive, 5% discipline. The difference is I talk about the discipline. They don't show the discipline. If he did, he might be getting a backlash. But guess what? You had 5,500 videos of mine out there. He hasn't got one. Not one video on the internet of him taking a class, taking a lecture, doing dog training with dogs hands-on. I would like to see that. And I've always said, haven't I, to everybody, put up your work. Stop talking about it. Put up your work. Show us your dogs. Show us. Dogs don't lie. Dogs don't lie. Dogs can be sneaky. Dogs can push boundaries. Dogs can take sides. But dogs don't lie. That's what they can't do. Humans do. Not all humans, but I reckon 99.9% of humans lie. Because there has to be some protection somewhere, because someone's going to find fault with you of what you say. And I think it's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. And that's why the dog training world is a freaking mess. And that's why I got to apologize to Chris Fraser. I don't like freaking apologizing. He was right. You can't keep everybody happy. It's as simple as that. So you might as well be yourself.
Actually, you did a lie there. You may not like it, but you always do.
What's that?
Apologise.
I do apologise, yeah. I don't like apologising, but when I'm wrong, I apologise. And I apologise if I've hurt someone's feelings, if I didn't mean to hurt their feelings and I was just giving my opinion. Because I'm that sort of person. It bothers me. It bothers me what people think about me, but I have to look above that, and I can't pretend I'm somebody I'm not, everybody. It's simple as that. It's hard to be a dog trainer without a dog. I think it's hard to understand pack theory if you haven't run a pack. I think you can study it as much as you like. I mean, look at this virus thing we've got at the moment. The science is absolutely all over the place. All over the place. For dog training, religion, it's all the same, isn't it? There's that guy who put out, I will give £1 million to anybody who can prove there is a God. And then the guy come back, but yeah, I'll give £1 million if you can prove there's not a God. You can't prove it, can you? It's belief, isn't it? And so isn't dog training belief? You either believe me or you don't believe me. But you can see the dogs I train, you can see the customers I train, and you can come up with a visual plan of, oh, I like that, or I don't like that. Let's talk about the two e-collar videos. I was only going to put them up on Patreon, but Patreon collapsed last week, and I couldn't put any videos up, and I wanted to show Jay the videos of his dog with the e-collar in the woods. Well, I took a chance, didn't I? Put my head above the parapet and put a frigging video up of me zapping a dog on an e-collar. They've turned that round.
Jay Brooker just says absolutely cracking phone call earlier, but you're talking about obviously Dougie now. And Paul Jarvis says, great video of Harley Quinn, Chris. What about Dougie? Though he is a character chasing those deer, so that follows on to what you're going to say.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I mean, I've been totally honest with Jay, and at the end of the day, I put the videos up only in the public so Jay could see them, and I was going to take them down, but I was that busy I forgot to take them down. And I've done exactly the same with Sam Merrick's little bitch. I put it on Patreon, and then I realized Sam's not on Patreon. It doesn't matter because Sam's known me for 13 years. I've trained 5 dogs for him. He's heard me say everything known to man about dog training, and he can handle a dog himself now. He's just very busy, and he wanted me to get that bitch ready for him. And that's what I've been doing and not rushing her. And I put that video up as well. So I put that onto Facebook and I put it onto Patreon so they could on YouTube so they could see it. And I forgot to take it down. So what I'm saying is this idiot then rubbishes me and says he zapped the dog 128 on the e-collar. Well, hang on, everyone. What I'm going to do, we're going to do a little experiment here. I'm going to do a little experiment. This is the e-collar in question. I don't know if you can see. Can you see the dial on there?
Yeah, I can just see.
You can just see the dial, right? So he said he watched the video and I fried the dog on 128. Well, hang on. That's turned right up.
Yeah, you're going the right way.
Well, I don't know if I'm going the right way.
Yeah, 127. I can see
right.
There.
Look, 127. Right. It cannot go any higher than 127. I cannot give you any higher.
Push the button. Yeah, I was going to say, make sure you push that button.
Right. Yeah. And what I'm saying is then the dial up. Look at my fingers, how big they are. And look where the dial is compared to the antenna, right? So there's it on 55. And then it's down to 0, look. But I'm doing that blind, look. I'm doing it blind. Now, if it's facing that way, and I turn it,
you can't see it.
No, the button goes the other way. So if I turn it the other way, I got to turn it that way. But if I turn it that way, I got to turn it that way. And in the wood, once the dog came back, all I did was turn it down, and I turned it up by mistake. But I went up to 127. Not frying the dog. Not frying the dog, everyone. No, not frying the dog at all. Because guess what? It was set at 13. It was set on 13 like that when the dog went after the deer. And guess what? It went after the deer, and I used the verbal cue that I'd built training up for a month and a half with this dog, exactly as Larry Crone's book says, except I didn't use food, but I paired it with the training for the dog to come back, and he was coming back lovely. When he went and I said, come here, I pressed the button. See that? The light comes on. I pressed the button and the dog carried on. So I haven't got time to look at the dial. So all I did was that. Turned it up. What are we on now?
32.
32. Right? And I turned it up. But I knew I didn't want to turn it right to the top. But I was running blind, looking at the dog, going after the sheep. 38. See? 38, 32. But guess what? From that direction, that side, if I'm tapping it there, I'm turning it that way. If I'm turning it there. So all I'm doing is it's in front of me and I turn it up, and I know how to turn it up because I've done it a number of times with dogs. But turning it down, because I have to then look at the dial, and because I was in the woods and no glasses, but this is after the event, I actually had it on camera that I turned it up before I turned it down like that. I just went like that, and then, oh no, that's up, now it's down. And then I went back to 13, the working level for the dog. This guy who knows nothing about e-collar training, and he says, I never say anything about anybody's training if I don't know about it. I study it. I've studied everything. You haven't studied e-collar training, sweetheart, because if you fried a dog at 127 or 128 or even 100 on this collar, that dog would freeze on the spot or jump up in the air like a guy being tasered with a freaking police stick. And this collar here, you can check it out if you want, right? You can. It's the Arc 800. It'll tell you what settings it goes up to. So for you to accuse me of zapping the dog at 128 and trying to cause a shitstorm on the internet, you're just a nasty, lying scumbag who's proved himself to be the person you are. Because guess what I did zap the dog at? Because I looked at the dial once I'd zapped the dog, because I needed to know what stopped him. 48. 48. He saw the 8. But what happened is it happened so quick. You see me dial up and you see the numbers going up and down, because that's all I was doing, like that, look. Right? It was just that. So doesn't it prove how they'll go out of their way to sell their science, their shite, because it's blue now, look. It's even oh no, it's blue on. Oh, it was blue. I don't know. Anyway, so what I'm saying is, it just shows what they'll do to sell their science or sell their ideology and try and rubbish you when he hasn't got a clue. You ask Larry whether a dog would normally scream or whether a dog would yelp all the way back if you were frying a dog at a level like that. That is so misleading. That's like them idiots on the TV. Put that collar on 102, press it and go, ah, it hurts. You've seen the videos, guys, that Sue has had that other collar on her at 100. That collar there, Sue, can you take 100 on it comfortably?
No, like I said to you, I didn't want to go up. I wouldn't go past 50 on that, did I?
Yeah, so she said she wouldn't go. She said she wouldn't go past 50 on that Arc collar, right? That's called the Arc, right? And yet the other one, Sue, can you get it? Because I've got only my underpants on, sweetheart.
Where the hell is it?
Just there, look.
Oh my God, I'll see my bum again.
You'll see a bum again. Be careful, everyone. Get ready.
Where the hell is it?
Oh, it's not there then. It's gone. No, so I've got another one that's a Pro Plus. It's called. Yes, in there, isn't it? And what happens is that one.
We tidied.
Yeah, we tidied. She made me tidy up. See. So this one here, and this is important, everyone. No, it's not there. It's in the drawer. It's in the drawer. See what I'm saying? She said she tidied, but honestly, you just can't find this.
I had it.
Yes, Susan.
Oh, it's like a diddly.
I know it's a diddly. Right. So that one there is for small dogs, and it's the less stim one you can buy, but it's of a very high standard. Look at the dial. Look, it goes from 1 to 100. It goes from 0 to 100. That is easier to dial up and dial down, but you can't get it so precisely tuned as that one, right? That one's got a digital readout, but in the woods, I couldn't see the digital readout without my glasses until I'd really looked at it close and the incident has stopped. So what happens is I don't look at the dial and go, okay, you had 10, that didn't work. Let's go 20. Oh, no, that didn't work. Let's go 30. Let's go 40. But I do know this. That's on naught. I find the working level like that. And all I do is go like that. Right? That's not gone up to 100, but that may look like 100 on there because look where 100 is. It goes right round the dial. Look, so where is 100 on there? So which one's the better one? This one or that one? This one for high drive dogs that says bollocks to you. This one as a tool just to say, listen to this and see what it feels like. You're not frying dogs, but you've got the potential to still freeze a dog on this at 100, 80, 70, 60. But Sue can put this one round her neck at 100 and take the shock. Sue can only take, what did you say on that one, Sue, and take the shock?
I said to you, I wouldn't take any more than 50.
She wouldn't go any more.
I absolutely know nothing about e-collars, but I know if that dog it got slapped on a, what did he say, 128?
Yeah.
That dog would have jumped in the air, or it would have just dropped right down.
Yeah.
And it would not have come back to you like it did.
Exactly.
Because it would jump. It's as simple as that. The shock of it, of 50 was enough for me.
Yeah.
So 128, Jesus, the only time I would press that on a dog would be the case that it had his freaking teeth on the back end of a fucking seat.
And let me tell you, everybody, they call it, you train the dog on a very low stim. But then once you've taught the behavior, if you've got to go up an increment or 10 or 20 to get the desired effect, you get the desired effect and then you go back down again to the low working level. We call it a working level. Each dog's got a different working level. Each dog's got a different pain threshold, and we want to work it so it does hardly feel a thing. It just feels a tap like that, a tap. And this is important because I'm trying to educate Robert. Before you run your mouth off, know what you're talking about, sweetheart. I've only been studying it for 2.5 years, the e-collar, but before that, they didn't have the technology that we've got. Am I for everybody going out and buying an e-collar? No, I'm not. I keep telling you people, no, I'm not.
Sweetie, sorry to butt in again.
Go on.
But I keep telling you, you're never going to educate an idiot.
Okay, no problem.
And
okay, we don't want to get there.
Nasty idiots.
Okay,
no
so what I'm saying is I'm trying to use a dog training video, a live debate, to just explain to people, not to justify what I did, but to explain, because how did I know it was 48? Because as soon as the dog was coming back, I spun the collar around and looked at it and went, oh, that worked on 48. Because I was working out what level. Now, when I banged him at 48, if he didn't come instantly back like that, I would have gone up to the next level and the next level and the next level. And if he'd run past that, I'd say, Jesus Christ, Jay, this dog has freaking got a pain barrier level that you just can't believe. Because I have no problem in turning it up to save the dog from being killed or killing other people by running out into the road. That's no different than what Robert was saying on the balcony with an aggressive dog. If you have to use discipline, you've got to use discipline. Why don't I just carry a baseball bat in the back of my freaking jacket, and once the dog's chased the freaking deer, run after the dog, and when I get hold of the dog, hammer the dog with a baseball bat? It might stop the dog chasing the deer, but no, I don't. I was educating the dog. The situation happened. I had nothing to fear. I had nothing to hide. I put it up. This is the good point, everybody. How many thumbs up has it had? And how many thumbs down has it had? Now watch that space. Now I've mentioned it. Because now he's going to get his cronies, his little followers, to go onto YouTube and put a thumbs down on the e-collar videos.
Well, I thought it was a cracking video.
Am I going to take them videos down? No. I only put them up for Jay to see, but forgot I put them up there. But guess what? They're staying there because I got nothing to hide Absolutely nothing to hide. And I know he'll be watching this because he's paranoid about me. Because this is what happens. People can't switch you off. Once they get hooked onto you, because I've studied psychology, he wants me to fight with him. We're not fighting. We're talking. I offered him open debate. I offered him to come on and have open debate with me. He's an intellectual. He'll smash the shit out of me with his knowledge and wisdom. But he won't, for one reason. He hasn't got the practical skills. It's as simple as that. And that's what I'm saying, everyone. I didn't want to come on here tonight and give it a non-stop, let's have a bitch back at the guy who's having a bitch about me. Now I just want to talk about dog training. And that's what we're doing. We're talking about dog training. And I don't care if anybody comes on here and wants to kick off. Right? If they're rude to me, you're gone. We just delete you. If you want real debate, I'll split a screen with you and have real debate, because I've never run from no one. No one. I don't care who you think you are or what you think you are. If you think by not liking someone, a woman, let's take Victoria Stilwell, and you think that saying I could gladly punch her in the mouth and you're a professional, I don't think that's very professional. Now, someone sent me in private, because I said something about Victoria Stilwell, and I speak my mind, but I wasn't rude. I wasn't threatening. Someone sent me in private a picture with Ian Dunbar in the background, Victoria Stilwell sitting down in the corner with an hot dog in her hand, but positioned slightly where his crutch is. And I saw the funny side of that. I saw the satire, the funny side of that. And I shared it on my Facebook page that is private, only for friends. It's not world. She won't see it. She won't see it because she's not on my friends list. I didn't do it because it's pornography. It wasn't pornography. It was a silly caption of someone who'd put the two pictures together. I like hot dogs, you bastard. You ever done that? I like hot dogs. There you go. Guess what? He's telling everyone I'm putting pornographic material up of her and Ian Dunbar. That's not pornographic material, you stupid person. But it's what he tells people. He feeds them crap. He feeds them absolute bullshit to create a frenzy. And that's what happens. I put it on my Facebook page. That's why I got banned last week for inappropriate material. I didn't know. They didn't show me what was inappropriate. I thought I'd been hijacked or something because I haven't put no porn up. And I made a comment about I haven't been willy flashing. And I just had a message from someone here, and he's right. He's just being a bitch. You know, we have a laugh. Chris Fraser comes from comedy. He was a comedian. He says stuff off the top of his head, and sometimes jokes get taken the wrong way. He says, you can quote me. But what I'm saying, everyone, it's like it's pathetic. It's like I want to be better than them, and I'm the stronger man because I've took them on and I've challenged them. You haven't challenged me. You got offered by Chris Fraser to come on and have a three-way debate, and Chris said he'd drop out. And I've not run anywhere. You were the one who unfriended me. Am I upset? Not in the freaking slightest, because you're an idiot. You're a bitch. You're a bitch. And you are a bitch because you can't pretend and go, you pick your friends. Stop it. I'm going like this, looking at different screens because other people are talking to me. It's so funny. But do you know what? I listened to Chris Fraser's live feed today, and I lay there listening to it, and he had a guest on there, and they were talking about pack mentality. And I thought to myself, she has got wisdom. She has got more wisdom than me academically, and I've never seen her train. I've never seen her train. But I can listen to people like that because they have got a better understanding of the sciences. And it's like she says, the four quadrants. Everyone's got their opinion about the four quadrants. We were using the four quadrants before anyone invented the four quadrants. But the four quadrants is what we use automatically. It just comes to us. But don't tell me that I haven't studied. Don't tell me that I'm I have not got, I'm a dinosaur. But am I going to get upset and start being a bitch to you? No, I'm just going to say the truth. I'm just going to say the truth, because the truth prevails in the end. As simple as that. Now, okay, you go around a house. Let's just say you go around a house and you're going to buy a pup. And as soon as you walk into the house, 12 dogs come running at you, or 5 dogs, or 3 dogs, and they're all giving it. And you have to stand still, you shit yourself and think, freaking hell, get your dogs back, get your dogs back. Now, they may be Alsatians, they may be freaking poodles, they may be freaking, I don't care what breed they are. And you've come around to look at pups. Are you going to be thinking, shit, is the pups going to turn out like that? And they go, hang on, let me put the dogs away. So they put the dogs away, and then they take you in with the mother and the pups, and the mother has a go at you, starts screaming in the corner or barking like a lunatic. And then the pups are cowering in the corner. Are you going to buy a pup from that person? No way. I'd be leaving. Because it's important to me that those pups have been brought on right and they've been socialized right from the start, because those pups are sponges. They're no different than a child that is inside somebody's belly who's being beaten during their pregnancy. That can affect the child's mental state, and that child can hear those noises inside the stomach. Now, we know that because science tells us that, right? And we know that because we've seen people been affected. And you can see kids with wide-eyed syndrome, that they've seen fear and they've got that wide eye, and you can see them, because I've been in that situation with my daughter being beaten by a pisshead, but she loved him. And if I'd gone around there and smashed his freaking head in, I would have been the bastard. So I phoned the police, because I controlled my temper. I controlled myself. Would I have any hesitation to go in there and drag that bastard off my daughter if I could get there quick enough? No. But she was 30 miles away. I said, just wait there, just wait there. And I phoned the police, 999. And I said, why? And she said, why did you phone the police, Dad? I said, because if I'd come around, I'd have killed him. It would affect my life, your mother's life, your life. I said, because at the end of the day, I will not put up with shit like that. She had to be, how many times did she get fucking, how many times did the policewoman say, Sue, she took hammering before she decided to leave him?
A woman takes a battering 36 times before they'll actually...
Hear that? A woman takes a battering 36 times before they'll leave a man. Well, I'm not going to get personal with Robert and say, why do you live on your own? But if you think that saying to somebody in private or in public that you'd like to punch Victoria Stilwell or a woman in the face, I think is wrong. It's simple as that. Now, in his defense, he did say, because I'm not a nasty bitch, he did say, I've never hit a woman in my life, but I'd make an exception for her. I was not impressed with that. And if he wants to lie and talk shit about me, I'm going to bring every bit of what he has said from these conversations, and there's hours of it. And the reason I keep it is not because I'm a sneaky bastard. It's because I've been shit on so many times in the dog world by people what we call smiling assassins. Trust me, people, I'm telling you, if you can find someone like Chris Fraze that is giving you free advice, watch it, shut the fuck up and learn. If you can find someone like Chris Upton, who's done it for 10 years, watch it, shut up and learn. But how many times have I answered your questions when you've asked me? Because I've got nothing to fear. There's no great pretense with me. You ask me a question. If I can answer it, I answer it. Why? Because I love my job. It's my passion. Now I've gone commercial because of the hatred, because of what's happened. And you all know what's happened. Guess what? People are still complaining. Now he's gone commercial. Well, hang on. I give it you for free for so long. Now, everyone knows on here, don't we? Because we use a special word. So let's have, am I talking shit? Or do you think that this is so freaking unbelievable that someone can get so shitty over nothing? It's pathetic. Because all I want to do is train dogs. All I want to do is help people. But, haha, oh my God, I feel like the sun, that's haha. I think Chris, I would have killed him, Pierre. Exactly, mate. Exactly. And that's what I would have done, Pierre, if I'd gone there. I would have done it. I'd have thrown him over the fricking balcony. I don't care what floor he was fricking on. But we have to control our emotions. But guess what? In that situation, if I was there, there's no freaking way he'd touch my daughter. And guess what? I did race into a kitchen. He was a chef. And I raced into the kitchen and said, "Where's the wife beater, the little bastard?" And everyone spun around in this, and I wasn't invited in this, and like, get out the kitchen. And I did it on purpose. I did it to show everybody around him that he's a freaking woman beater, because I can't stand them freaking mouthy bastards who threaten women. And yet I and Chris Fraser have been accused of being bullies and sexist towards women. Listen, I love women. I love women. I have missed driving around with an open top car looking at beautiful bodies in the summer. 7 weeks they locked me up with her in the corner. 7 weeks they segregated me from looking at the women. Don't we all? Stop it, Jay. No, all blokes don't. All blokes don't. We went on holiday once with I think we were kids. We were about 9, 7 and 5 or whatever. And my dad looked at this woman who was stunning. And I was a kid thinking, Jesus Christ, look at her. She was all hanging out. And then he was looking in the mirror at her. And my mother went fucking ballistic in the car. Absolutely ballistic. How dare you do that in front of me? I thought, Jesus Christ, I'm never marrying a woman like that. I'm never marrying a woman who won't let me look. Just because you look, that's called window shopping, isn't it? That doesn't mean you're going to do anything. But guess what? It's the testosterone in us males. Some of us do and some of us don't. Some of you look for blokes. There's nothing wrong with that. I hold my hands up. I haven't said nothing negative about freaking, can I say gays? Can I say that? I don't know if I can say that these days. But that's what I'm saying. Chris, get it out there. Carry on. No, I'm talking openly because that's what I do. I talk openly. I talk with passion. And if you don't like it, leave. We've only got 60 people in here tonight. We normally have more than that. We've only got 29 thumbs up. I don't care if people don't like this this channel.
You can't do all the thumbs up. Can you just answer?
I can't please everyone.
Can you just answer?
Dougie's going to be yours until September now. Oh my God, Jay, you put me under pressure.
We love him.
We love him, she said. No, the dog, not Jay. Hey, window shopping. Sue's window shopping. She loves Jay. Hey. She's seen you on that motorbike, flash bastard. Yeah, have you seen the pictures of Jay on his motorbike?
I was like, wow. Kieran's got, because you followed on about that. What you do.
Go on then, follow on.
Would you lose a point for saying get on to set the dog off, or should the dog go on your movement?
No,
or would you just cast it off to start?
Most people just cast the dog off with the movement. Some people click a finger off, no problem. You won't get knocked for just the odd click. But it's funny, Kieran, because I was at an open stake, and there was I was stewarding, and the judge was Clarence Colclough, senior A panel judge, and I was standing with his wife, lovely lady, and this A panel judge was running under him, and he kept clicking and bending down to go ask the dog to go in the cover. So the dog wasn't going in the cover unless he bent down and asked the dog to go in the cover. And she said to me, I didn't prod her with a stick or anything. She said to me, he won't do any good under Clarence today because he's clicking his fingers. He won the trial. So, it depends who you are. You can get away with it. You don't have to sometimes be a good dog man. I'm not saying anything about Clarence Colclough. I'm saying in general, you don't have to always be a good dog man to get a win in trialing. Sometimes it's the person you are, the people you are, the people you're with, the people you're running under. Anyway, at the end of the day, because I speak my mind, I get myself in trouble. And one of the things I said is I was on Chris's site and we were having a chat, and I thought it was fantastic, but it went on. Bloody hell, it went on for 3 hours. But when you're having a good time, you don't realize. You don't realize you've gone on that long. It's like now, it's 1 hour and 4 minutes. It's gone hell of a quick, and I've hardly answered any questions. I feel terrible.
No,
but hang on, let me just say this. this is important to me. I explain things in life that's happened to me. Like my old man, because I was dyslexic, he used to think I was thick. So he used to hit me across the back of the head and flick me and go, don't be an idiot. Don't be an idiot. Go away. Don't be an idiot. What did it teach me? It taught me to fucking duck. That's all it did. It taught me to avoid him. That's all it did. He wasn't nasty. He wasn't, my old man wasn't a nasty person, but he was old school, strict. Right? If there's who's peed on the toilet seat out of 3 kids, not me, dad, not me, dad, not me, dad. You would do, wouldn't you? You all got belted. So you just learn not to freaking admit to anything, right? It just changes you as a person. So I talk about things like that. And I just naturally we talk about discipline. And my mother was being hit by my brother. And I mentioned it on Chris's thing. And I said that my mother told me, she said she didn't know what to do. And I said, how long's it been going on? About 6 months. And I said, why didn't you tell dad? She said, he'll kill him. He'll kill him. And I really believe my old man would have freaking nailed him, right? Hurt him, right? Because you've got to do things. You can't lose your anger. You can't do things in anger like that. And so she asked me to have a word with him. Would you go upstairs and have a word with him? Other words, can you deal with it for me? And I went upstairs and he put his fists up. So I put my fists up and we had a scrap. And I give him an hammering. We use our fists. And the reason we did that is we went to boxing school as youngsters, because my old man, we lived in a rough area. My old man threw us into boxing school and said, go and learn to fight. Because we come from that environment. So they taught us to fight at a young age. So we could look after ourselves. So he thought I'd left home. When I came back, he was a little cocky teenager and he was abusing his mother. It wasn't right. Today's society said you just sat down with him and give him some Prozac or give him a spliff. But what I did is I did what my mother said. But guess what? Robert turned it round and said, his brother killed himself. He committed suicide and he took his belt off and gave him a thrashing. At no point in the video did I say I took a belt to him.
That's the thing, nasty.
It's nasty people change the things you said and they word it differently. That is the horrible thing about some people. So you just got to move on. And what I'm saying is, you're going to talk to people and you're going to see things in life and you're going to have to change your mind sometimes and sometimes think that's what I'd do and that's what I'd do. No, hit the deer, then put it in the freezer. Stop it. Everyone's talking about the deer and put it in the freezer. Okay, so I'm going to ask a question because you're all still here. You haven't left yet. So I want this question. There could be a squirrel skin. It could be. I'm not saying there is. There could be. So you've just passed your driving test. You've just passed your driving test and you're driving down the road and an old bloke with a 3-year-old kid is at the side of the road. And just as you go past them at 30 miles an hour, you're not speeding, you're not doing anything. They step out into the road. You've got a decision to make. Do you take out the kid, 3-year-old kid, or do you take out the old granddad who's had a good few years? You've got to make a decision. What you've got to do is you've got to sit and think before you say anything. Don't say anything. Don't say anything yet. You see Karen, straight out there, granddad. What is the first? Hang on. What is the first thing you'd hit? What's the first thing you'd hit? Come on. Granddad. The brakes. Freaking thank Christ for that, Karen. But Karen, you were the first one, but unfortunately, you had 2 guesses. So unfortunately, mate, you don't get the squirrel skin.
Well, I have to admit, no wonder we've got Dougie, because Jay Brooker says the horn.
Well, I've just hit you. There you go.
Robert Jeffrey says the lamppost.
The lamppost.
That's it.
It's a goat.
We have a few. We have hang on, I'm just going back up, Chris, because he actually got up at 5 o'clock this morning to come into this.
EJ, this is the person's ideology, not the gender. Get it, Chris? Exactly.
We
I
have.
got chucked down the stairs by mum and dad. Wished I'd prayed. Wished he prayed he lived in a bungalow. Exactly. Do you know what? I only ever got a real hammering from my dad once. Right? He was sort of not Victorian, but he believed in discipline. He'd rather give out discipline, but he weren't a bully. He wasn't a bully. But I tell you what, he loved my mother, something chronic, and I tell you what, he would have definitely freaking gone mental if
Oh,
you
we would have.
he would have, because I know what he was like there. But guess what? This is what the psychology of all this is about, really, when you think about it. I don't hold grudges for the past. I don't live in the past and carry the baggage. But you can't ignore the past. You can't ignore history. You can't ignore the fact that teacher used to stand you in a bin in the corner and call you a dunce with a freaking dunce hat on your head. Or they used to give you a book to stand up on the chair in the class and read it out. And like I said, could I pretended I could read that word? I could have earlier, but I know what the word is because I'm visual, but I couldn't give it you there and then. I haven't done bad for saying I'm so dyslexic with self-education to be able to run a business, openly talk to people like this without a script, without studying. It's coming off the top of my head. Sometimes we say things that afterwards we might listen to and think, I should have said that slightly different. But when you put your head above the parapet, you've got to be prepared to be shot at. And I can take that. That is what I've learned to take by being the person I am. If I was a wallflower, I wouldn't say boo to a goose, but I might hate you but not tell you. I'm not going to be rude to you if I don't like you. But if you ask me, I don't like you, I don't like you. But I don't go out my way to not like people. I don't hate this guy for what he's done. I just think it's so pathetic. And this is what dog training is about, and this is what these live feeds are about. If you can't ask questions because someone says you've upset friends of mine or you've upset colleagues of mine, can you shut up because you're making them feel inferior? And I don't know why other people keep rubbishing them. Well, hang on, you want to ask the question why if lots of other people are rubbishing you as well. But I wasn't rubbishing them. I was giving advice, free advice. If you come on to me in private and start talking to me and telling me what a life you've had and who ripped you off and who didn't rip you off, sometimes I don't even want to even read it sometimes, but I'm not rude. And sometimes I get into a discussion with people in private. But I didn't go into these people's world and say, hi, my name's Chris Upton. You're training wrong. You shouldn't be training like that. You should be training like this. That's completely wrong. You don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean, pack authority? Are we intimidated by Robert? Not in the slightest.
There was
Not in the slightest.
there's apologies, I can't pronounce his name, but it's from Australia, Oscar it is, and it's 5 a.m. in Australia, and he said I'm here.
Mr. Dixon.
No, just says Oscar, and he said the art of polite discourse was lost when social media began, and it became about mob justice. And that is so blinking right, isn't it?
Whereabouts is it, Susan? I'd like to read that out because I think that was wonderful what you just said.
No,
but hang on, Susan. Try to help me, darling, because
2030, it's 8:30.
Oh no.
The art of polite discourse.
What was his name?
O said CARP. It's under Kieran Evans.
Oh dear me.
2030.
No, I can't go 2030, can I, on
Right,
here?
well, the art of polite discourse was lost when social media began and it became about mob justice. And he's right, isn't it?
Mob justice, exactly. And that's how they can survive, only on mob justice. They can't stand alone. They haven't got the capability of standing alone. Do you know what? What would you...
One thing I always say is that these people know your name, but they don't know the story, do they?
No.
They don't know. They do not know the story of like how they can affect us, me, as well as you.
Affect you more than me.
Yeah, and that's why I say to him, keep the idiots in the box because I don't particularly want them out there like that freaking virus. Go away.
Yeah, but okay.
I'd rather keep them in the box. I know you
Calm it down.
You have to.
Calm it down, darling.
Well,
No, no.
I just want to keep him in the box. And just, I just go away. Just
See,
go away.
and see what I'm saying, everyone. You know, it's not me. I'm stronger, a lot stronger than my darling wife.
We've had 7 years of it.
Hang on, hang
Now
on.
you've got another fucking idiot coming along.
Hang
Who
on.
thinks he's whoever he thinks he is.
Yeah, but hang on. Keep it calm.
No, I can't keep it calm because he's a fucking idiot.
There you go. See, everyone. See, and everyone thought my darling wife Sue was a little flower bud, and she didn't say boo to a goose. If you piss her off,
7 years of it, Chris.
Yeah.
I do not need somebody else coming along who thinks he can then take over and then decide that whatever they want to do to destroy us again. I've had 7 years of it. I do not need another fucking brain dead nasty. This one is nasty. I said to you that this one is nasty. Don't trust him. I just go away, back in your box, go into your woman's world because that's where you belong.
So Robert, there's a message for you. I'd not prodded my wife. She's told you from the heart. Look what you've done to my wife, you horrible, nasty man, by attacking me and my business in such a vile way. You could have spoke to me in private.
Another fucking drink I need.
See that? And that's why I have to keep cool, and that's why I have to keep calm, because if I see people upsetting my wife like that, I might want to rip your head off, but I can't do it because I'm a shotgun person. I'm a gun dog person, and I can't afford to lose my cool. But that's the hatred that these people spread, and they don't see the effect they have on people's lives. Because I have not been rude or said lies about Robert in any way, and I don't want this to go to that for Sue, and me coming on here saying what I've said has wound her up because she just wanted me to come on here and just pretend nothing's happening. But if I do that completely, that bloke then thinks he's won because he thinks he's intimidated me. Chris Fraser was dead right. Are we intimidated by Robert? Not in the slightest. Not in the slightest. Do I need to get into a bitch fight on the internet? Not with people like him. Not in the slightest. Will I put some videos up and expose him for what he is if he carries on? I guarantee. If you keep upsetting my wife with your shit comments, then I will. I don't care what you say about me. Exactly what Chris Fraser said. I do care what people think about me. Chris might not. I do. I do. We're all different. We handle things different in life. And this is the way I handle myself. I don't need to have a screaming fit. It's classless. That's exactly right. Some people are classless. I don't mind debate. There's nothing wrong with debate. I've sat and listened to some fantastic debates, and I will say that person owned that. That person come across really well. It doesn't mean I agree with that person all the time, but I don't take sides like children. I've never been in a playground and been a bully in a playground, being backed by a load of idiots who are in the gang. I've quite happily stood on my own because I've never felt the need to prove myself because I could look after myself. As simple as that. I come from an environment that taught me to look after myself. You get toughened up, Buttercup, if you don't get everything in life given to you. But you can't throw your toys out the pram if people don't agree with you. And I can tell you that, unfortunately, Robert showed his true colours. But sometimes the best thing to do when you've worked someone out is let them show their true colours. Let them show their true colours. I'm not angry at Robert for what he said about me. I'm angry for the effect it's having on my wife because that's not fair. But guess what? End of. I'm moving on. I've said my piece, but I'm not being intimidated by a bully. So who is the bully when you think about it? Because
I may not like it, Chris, but I won't want you to be intimidated by him either. And like I said to you, 7 years I've been behind you.
And that's what.
If he starts now, I'm behind you now, 100%.
And that I know.
Hang
on, Sue. Hang on. But that's what Chris Fraser said. Chris Fraser said exactly that. Chris Fraser said, you took a bullet, you stood up to the bullies and the hate gangs, and you stood there for 7 years and you stood your ground. And that's what I've done. People are sending you, don't worry, Sue. Sue can't help. Oh, no, Sue, yeah, she's right. And at the end of the day, that's emotion. And I don't let emotion, You don't win battles. You don't win wars. You don't win debates. You don't win friends if you turn out like he is. So he can carry on doing what he's doing. It doesn't bother me. It does not bother me. What does bother me, if he carries on in the way that it's affecting my wife, but we won't know that now, because guess what? He's unfriended us. Unless people coming onto my debates and kicking off, then feel free. If you're that childish, bring it on. I've told you, bring it on. Better to have a small group of loyal followers, Chris and Sue, than stand behind you. No problem at all. And do you know what? To me, everyone, like I've said, I don't want people fighting my battles. I've had people in the past stood up for us, and when the shit was hitting the fan, when 10,000 people were at your throats because they lied again, guess what? That's what Sue's worried about. This is nothing. This is just this is just like tomorrow's news. Tomorrow's news will be nothing. So what I'm saying, everyone, and that's what I'm saying, there's loads of people who would defend me, but I don't need you to. Don't get involved. Why? Because Chris is big enough to fight his own battles. And we had this before, and we had about 300 people jump in on an argument, and it went massive. It went massive. So, there's no need to. Pierre knows me. I'm a thinker. I like to play the mind game if he wants to play a mind game. That's the way I have to do it. Does that not mean I could not roll up my sleeves if I really wanted to? Come on, get real. But we grow up, surely. We grow up. As we get older, we're supposed to get wiser, not get stupider. And that's the whole point. At the end of the day, people should come on here. People should come on here and debate with me. I've asked them to debate with me. They're not debating with me. I would rather have a debate where you disagree with each other, but learn from each other. Or you can't bully someone into your beliefs. You can't threaten someone. You can't say to someone, oh, my clients are upset because they're advertising as professionals on the internet and you're not happy with them. Well, if they ask me my opinion and I tell them, that's not my problem. And then they run off and say, oh, he's rubbishing me and he's rubbishing other people. Has Chris Fraser thrown his toys out of the pram and gone, oh, Robert said that you've been talking about me in private. I have been talking about Chris Fraser in private, and I said what I feel, but I've not been two-faced or nasty, and I'd say it to Chris Fraser's face. And that's why I like the bloke, because he doesn't take umbrage as long as you're not offensive and rude and stupid to him. If you're looking for a bitch fight with me, bring it on. I ain't going nowhere. And I can tell you, Chris Fraser do the same. But we have disagreed on a number of things. I'm not sucking up to Chris Fraser, and Chris Fraser doesn't need to suck up to me. I have promoted Chris Fraser for a number of, I think, a couple of years. But guess what? I used to promote Nikki Butler. I used to put up stuff because she's got that elegant English voice. At the end of the day, that's Vicky Butler. But once Vicky threw me off a group that she asked me to come on and ban me, I'm not worried. I'm not gonna cry and freaking throw me toys out the pram. I'm gonna accept it. But I'm not gonna be a nasty, nasty person to Nikki Butler because Nikki Butler did that. I wish Nikki all the best. This is a learning curve for everybody, from anybody coming into the dog training world. And I came on here this evening to talk about why I train the way I train, where we started off, didn't we? And we were saying, he said to me, why do you do everything opposite to what the books say? Because I've worked a system, and I'm not the only one over the years who's worked the system, that through gameplay, whether it's a protection dog and the dog wanting to do it, if you can get a dog to want to come off the bite because of a positive, then great. But sometimes you have to give a negative to get a dog off a bite, because not all dogs are the same. And sometimes you have to teach a behavior with a different behavior. And sometimes you've got to use discipline to a higher level with one dog than the other dog. That's why we cannot put up video after video after video showing you correction, because other people would go out there and copy it. And then if you've got a soft dog, you're going to mess it up. If you haven't got your timing right, you're going to mess it up. The leash corrections that Chris Fraser uses when he's training a dog, a good person who knows what they're doing can pick it up. A good person can spot it. What you see in the picture isn't always what you should be watching. And that's how he explains it to you. And that's how I explain it in my own area of expertise, dog training. So when people come onto the scene and they pretend they're gun dog trainers, and they come over to me going, I'm a professional gun dog trainer, and I've trained with this person, I've trained with that person, and this person I know, and this is another friend of mine. And I go, oh, I know Robert. I've known Robert for years. Yeah, Robert's brilliant. Robert's taught us everything. But then start slagging people off left, right, and centre, and you don't even know me. What does that tell me about you? You're going to go and do the same to other people. And because I critiqued some of the comments she made, and I was trying to educate her, I wasn't trying to rubbish her. And I'm not mentioning a name in a business. Why? Because I try to be as professional as possible. All I'm saying, everyone, is you can't help everyone, because it's like someone sends me a video to critique for Patreon, and I critique it in an honest, open manner, and they take the umbrage. Oh, I thought I was better than that. Don't send it to me. Don't send me videos if you don't want honesty, because you guys know that you're all loving Patreon. You're loving Patreon because of the honesty. I don't rip an hole in people's arses, but I tell them what's right and I tell them what's wrong, and I'd be as polite as possible doing it, but I ain't holding back. If you start telling me I don't know what I'm doing and you did it because of so-and-so, I'm going to tell you guys. It's as simple as that, because I don't need to buy customers. I don't need to sell myself down the river to gain customers. I can't handle the amount of customers who want to come to me and want to train with me because of honesty and integrity. Good night, Pierre. I'm on a rant tonight, but I'm on a rant because I don't hold this shit in and then explode. Said with respect. Thank you. I don't hold this shit in and I don't explode. I am me, but I'm moving on. I'm not worrying about this plank. I'm not worried about him. I haven't got time for divas. I haven't got time for them. So anyway, we will get back to this thing. I mean, we've gone 127. We're normally only going to do an hour, and you are dwindling off. You're down to 45. But guess what? This is going to get shared. I know it's going to get shared, because poor old Robert's got an inferiority complex. So he'll share it and ask everybody to make comments. I'm not bothered. Crack on. Everything I said, I stand by. Have I rubbished your clients? Have I named your clients? No. I had no intention of naming your clients. I'm talking about the big general picture. There's too many people out there trying to be professional dog trainers and make money off people when they're not. Dog trainers. I didn't just say just gun dog trainers. I was going to say something at 9, but Jay said you felt it had another half hour. Go on then, say it.
Yeah, but I was going to say something at 9, but Jay said he felt you had another half hour in you, so I just sat back because Jay knew you had to get it off your chest, wasn't it?
Well, the whole point of it is, guys, I don't let that shit cling to me. I don't let it. I don't let it cling to me. Do you know if you go to a burglary and you get found in a burglary with gloves and wire cutters and you're tooled up, you're going down for a long time. You're going down for a long time. Why? Because it's premeditated. You've planned it. If you were just walking past an house and someone opened the purse and 50 quid freaking blew out the window and you grabbed it and ran down the freaking road with it, okay, you stole, but it just happened. It's human nature sometimes. If people do things and they think, oh shit, why did I do that? But at the end of the day, if you've got to go and subdue a dog with a baseball bat on a balcony 7 floors up, and you've got racing through your mind because your adrenaline's going and you're not thinking straight, and you've got to use a baseball bat, and you've got to think, which part of my body can I afford to let this dog bite? If I let him bite me on the arm here, I can then grab him and throw him over the balcony. You're dreaming. You're a Walter Mitty.
Somebody said that earlier.
You're absolutely dreaming. You know, have you ever seen a pit bull locked on? It's not nice. He don't want to let go. He wants to hurt you. And the more you hit him, the more he's going to hurt you. Now, call me a pussy. And I have no hesitation of killing a dog to save a life of a human. Right? If you're going to do it, you've got to do it. But to keep smacking a dog time and time again for 40 freaking minutes, it's not working. It's not working. And what did he say? Then a colleague came along and threw some meat with some drugs in to knock the dog out, tranquilizer, knock the dog out, and the dog was so it got the meat and the tablets were going everywhere. But that subdued the dog, and that was a woman. And this idiot said that I think women aren't very good dog trainers. Well, Chris said that women aren't very good dog trainers. No, we didn't. No, we didn't. Some women are useless, but some men are useless. You're trying to make me out to be a sexist. Oh, he hates women. No, I hate bitching women. I hate women who go on these forums because I don't go on these gun dog forums. Why? Because there's too many bitching women. But there's a lot of bitching men on there as well who love bitching to try and impress the women. I'm not interested. I don't go on them. So there you go. So I've got it off my chest. He asked me to make comment. I asked him if he wanted to. Well, Chris asked him if he wanted to come in and have a debate and iron it out before he got all bitchy and silly. And then he went off and did his own thing. Let him get on with it. So that's Chris Upton. I'm sorry about this week, everybody. But I'm feeling better. And I didn't drink so much whiskey, did I? Because my mind was racing. Because my mind races when I start thinking. But guess when I'm at my best? When I'm under pressure. I do my best work when I'm under pressure. The same as artists write fantastic songs when they're under pressure, when they're hungry. And I've learned to use that animalistic tendencies that we've got and control them and use them sparingly and know how to get the best out of them, because I love psychology. I love watching someone freak out after they got made to look stupid on a debate. But they didn't get made to look stupid. They made themselves look stupid. So there you go, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed that. And if you've not, I'm sorry, but it'll just be one of them that doesn't get many likes. Because at the end of the day, you get honesty here. That's the one thing you do get. You may not like me, but you keep watching me. And you're watching me for a reason. You're getting value for money because it's free. But you get better value for money on Patreon site, because that's where Chris Upton will show you how to train dogs to a very good standard. And that cuts out the bullshit, doesn't it? So let the haters hate, and let's keep and debate. And I want to thank you all for staying with me tonight, the 43 of you, and not leaving. And like I say, the next headline will be, no one agreed with Chris Upton because at the end of the day, they all went bollocks. They all went bollocks at the end of the day when he said, I'm going to sign off. They all went bollocks. So none of them agreed with him. But what happens? He doesn't study. He doesn't watch. He doesn't listen because he believes he knows it all. So everybody, could we have that? If you've enjoyed yourself, please give me that feedback. If you've not enjoyed yourself, please say Jolly Roger. Jolly Roger tonight. If you've not enjoyed yourself, the special code tonight, if you've not enjoyed yourself, is Jolly Roger. Actually, let's change it. Let's change it. If you've not enjoyed yourself, say Diva. Diva. Because you can all spell Diva. Some of you can't spell like me. But if you've enjoyed yourself, give us that magic word that we always use at the end of a debate, because we've got a sense of freaking humor on here, as well as we talk about dog training normally, because that's what we're here for. We talk about dog training. So I haven't seen one diva yet. Well, and I didn't see anybody come on and was negative. It's spelled Robert. Yeah, stop it. I'm like this. Keep in your lane. A lane. There you go. A lane. Now I've sussed it. Keep in your lane. Somebody's giving me information. Keep in your lane. Do you know what? It's like when I used to, when I was. It's when no, somebody's sent. I'm not saying, but someone's sending me private messages. A number of people. And a lane. Keep in your lane. Yes, that's the way to do it. When I was at school, I couldn't even spell bed. And then this teacher said to me, it's easy. What you got to do, you got to draw a B. And I didn't know what a B was compared to a D. He said, well, pretend you've got a pillow. So put that there and that one there and put the other one the other way, like it's the other end of the bed, and then put a line across it. And it looks like a frigging bed. And do you know what? I have never, ever not spelt bed now because it was something simple he showed me. And that's what I've learned how to train dogs. Keep it simple so the dog understands everyone. Keep it simple. Dog training is so simple, and yet it's an art that takes you years to master before you make it look simple, because too many people become complicated with it and get flustered, lose their cool, don't use correction when they're supposed to. I've been talking to people today about it. Anybody can lose their cool and go after a dog. You don't realize what effect you have on that dog. Exactly the same as Robert doesn't care what effect he has on my darling wife. And my darling wife has done nothing to him, but my darling wife loves me. And so that's what I'm saying to you people. People should think before they open their mouths and lie, but we've been there before. So let's move on. Night, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. I'm sorry for going on. Hang on, Jonathan Nelson. Hello from Colombia, South America. I've been watching your videos for a long time and just recently got my first Cocker Spaniel. Congratulations, Jonathan. Have fun, and I hope my videos help you. And like you say, guys, you know, my videos are there. They've been there for a long while. Some of your dogs have improved to such a fantastic standard. You make me proud. You make me proud. I've won enough stuff over the years, and it's great that I've been there. But guess what? I get more buzz from you getting on with your little dog and having a fantastic time with that little dog and enjoying it and getting results. That's what dog training is about, guys. You don't all need to be experts. You don't all need to be professors in the field. So many people would love to be a dog trainer, and I know gun dog people. Oh, I'd love to be a gun dog trainer. I'd love your life. I'm just showing you the warts and all. I'm showing you what we have to cope with and what we have to do. Richard Gould, those videos you sent me is a vast improvement, and I'm going to be putting them up this week to show people. You sent me videos last week. I asked you, do you want me to put that up, or do you want to go away and do what I asked you to do and show you something else? And you just went away and did it. And what a difference. I say well done to you, boy. You took the shit. You listened to Chris. It wasn't shit. You took the constructive criticism. Constructive criticism. That's what it was, wasn't it? Constructive criticism. The same as Jay. I've not opened Jay's mind, but Jay is understanding by listening to me explaining about his dog. I cannot make every dog into a top dog, but I can do my bloody best. And it's down to genetics sometimes. And sometimes you've got to compromise. It doesn't mean you've got to get rid of the dog. So there you go, everyone. That's Chris Upton signing off. I'm going to put my arms around my lovely little darling wife now and give her a kiss. Good night, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. And thanks for listening to my rant tonight. Some days you get a rant and sometimes we just do training. Thanks for all you do and learn from lots of your videos. That's so nice, Jonathan Nelson. Too True Sue. You've got some friends on here, Susie Two Shoes. Look at him. Look. Good night, Susie Two Shoes. And that's what I like about my wife. Do you know what I like about her? She's got passion. But guess what? She doesn't very often kick off until somebody fucking upsets her. And that's what that scumbag's done. He's got no feelings for anybody. And so let's move on. Good night, everyone. Thanks a lot for tuning in. And that's Chris Upton signing off. Cheers.